While the AI boom has delivered real benefits in areas like research and productivity, the same innovation also handed an industrial-grade weapon to scammers and cybercriminals. The cybersecurity industry has responded, but with an overwhelming focus on governments and enterprises, leaving consumers exposed. So joining us today is Patrick Coughlin, author of Dark Side of the Boom: How Scammers Hijacked the AI Revolution. This is so interesting to me and so important that we're talking about this right now. So thank you so much for joining us. But how big of a problem is digital fraud, and how much has it grown?
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, thanks for having me. Digital fraud is now the fastest growing crime in the country, and government estimates put the number that Americans are losing now at nearly $200 billion a year. And it's hitting across all demographics. We see senior citizens lose the most amount of money on average. When a senior citizen is hit with one of these AI-powered scams, they lose well over $10,000. For younger people like Gen Z, they're 3 times more likely to fall for a scam. They just don't have often as much savings as older people. So this is a huge problem. It's catapulted since the launch of ChatGPT, and it's now become the crime that's at the top of the list for consumers and for law enforcement all around the country.
Wow, yeah, I don't like to hear that. So let's talk about imposter scams. What are those, and how do cyber criminals really pull those off?
Yeah, so imposter scams, these used to be a tiny blip on the radar just a few years ago, and now they make up over 1/3 of all types of scams happening. Imposter scams are when a fraudster pretends to be somebody that you might trust, somebody that you love, a brand you use, a government agency, and they use that trust to then manipulate you into doing something that's against your will, often giving up credentials or giving up your hard-earned money. And these imposter scammers, as you said in your introduction, are now armed with an industrial-grade weapon, because that same power of AI to talk like us, to create images and videos that look and sound real to us, is the perfect weapon in the hands of an imposter scammer.
All right, well then tell us, what are some warning signs we should watch out for?
Yeah, so we see these scams hitting across all different types of channels now. That's happening over text, which just surpassed email as the #1 threat vector for these types of scams. So I'm sure your viewers will relate to the fact that all of our phones are now overwhelmed with sort of scammy and spammy messages. So when you see these messages or you get a call that comes in, typically the formula for the scammer involves an unfamiliar contact. You weren't expecting it. And then there's a massive amount of urgency. You have to pay now. You're behind on your taxes. Somebody's in a dangerous situation that needs your help immediately. And then it pivots a conversation into money. So when you see this combination of urgency, unexpected contact, and then an ask for money or access, we call that a hot zone moment. And in those moments, the most important thing you can do is actually take a step back, take a pause, and think about what is another way that I could verify this communication. We call that a second channel check. And at Savvy Security, we've built a way for users to actually find out what a great second channel check is, or to have a check on a suspicious message that's come in. We call it our feature ScamWise. It's available in our Savvy Security app, which is in the app stores for the iPhone and Google. And so we recommend users download that app. There's a free capability to use and gives really everybody a way to just get a second opinion in a moment that really matters.
And I know that we think mainly the elderly, but this really can impact and affect anyone. So what are some steps that we can take to protect ourselves and our loved ones?
Yeah, there's a big myth out there that the elderly are really the only ones that are vulnerable to this, and it's really just not true. Research shows that every age, every demographic is just as susceptible to these types of scams. And I know there's people out there who think I don't fall for these types of scams, but the reality is we all do. And the scammers with AI have gotten so good at their jobs that it's impacting tens of millions of Americans every year across senior citizens, millennials, Gen Z. And for folks like me who've got aging parents, we're worried about our aging parents. We've got young kids that are growing up in a digital native world. The challenge is real because we want to extend the protection not just around ourselves, but around our spouses, our parents, our kids. And so at Savvy, we really believe that security is a shared mission, and that's why we have a family plan that's one price where you can put everybody on it, and you can get some peace of mind knowing that not just you, but your loved ones are protected as well.
Wonderful. Well, where can we learn more?
Go to savvysecurity.com. You can download our apps in the App Store, and you can check out the book called Dark Side of the Boom if you really want to go deep on this crazy new crime wave that's sweeping all across the country.
We definitely need to be more aware. So thank you so much for your help today. And everyone at home, if you would like to see this interview again, just head to First Coast News Plus.